Hi everyone, this is Linda from Lilybug's Library. Welcome back. And we're partway through Canuck July. So I did want to talk to you and give you an update about everything that's going on with that and a few other things. Before I do, I'll just tell you that I've got some chronic pain issues and from a car accident years ago. So it's been a struggle the last few months in particular, maybe even the last year. It's it just seems to get worse every year, and I've got so many aches and pains. And I went out today. I had to go out because I had to get my hair cut, and it was tough, and it's very frustrating sometimes when you can't do the things that you want to do, and when even just a short outing like that is a problem. But anyway, so if you're out there and you're suffering with anything like that, you have my total support. I know how difficult it can be sometimes. So on with Canuck July. So I read A World of Curiosities. I actually listened to that one on audiobook, and I kind of wish now that I had read it. It was full of a lot of French Canadian names, and I found somewhere in the middle of the book, I got a little bit lost and kind of got mixed up as to what character was what. But and it could have used a trigger warning. You know, that's something that I have a real problem with in books. And this one starts out with Inspector Gamesh and his partner. I guess he would be an inspector too, or maybe it's Chief Inspector Gamesh, and then his partner, Inspector Bouvois. And so they end up coming across this woman who's been killed, and they have to go and tell the children about the fact that their mother is dead. But the big problem, and the part that could have used the trigger warning, is it turns out that their mother was um, not a very nice person, and she was actually involving the children in well, I'll tell you because it's the very first part of the book. She was actually involving the children in child pornography. So the children, of course, are all messed up. The mother has died, and then the majority of the book is years after that when the children are grown up, and so it's kind of them coming back to the town of Three Pines where Chief Inspector Gamesh is at, and kind of the mystery that crops up after that and how it involves these children who are now adults. So it was really good. It was had a lot of twists and turns in it, and you spend kind of the whole book wondering, whether the children are whether they're okay, whether I keep calling them children, but they're adults at that point, but whether they are psychopathic or whether they're all right, what's kind of going on. But it was good. I would give it, I'd probably give it, say, 4 out of 5. Maybe I would have given it more if I had read it. I don't know, but we'll say 4 out of 5. The other one I read, another one was called Panic in the Pansies. It was kind of a cozy mystery, but the problem with it is it was only 61 pages, which really wasn't very much. So, and apparently it was Seasons of Gasper Cove, book one. So I guess there's other ones in that series. I don't know how long the other ones were. I didn't check, but this one was good. It took place in springtime in Nova Scotia. The woman was part of. She worked at um, like a plant nursery, but it was the type like you'd see outside of your grocery store, that sort of thing. And she managed to get a job there, and then there was kind of a mix-up at the nursery, and she ends up having to go to someone's home and to try to fix it, and that person has been killed. And so it's a very 64 pages is not much. It was a pretty short mystery. So although the mystery was good, I didn't feel like a real connection to the characters or to the town or any of that. So I would give that probably a 3 out of 5. So the next one I read, and I had already spoken about Letters Across the Sea. There's a whole other video on that one, which I will link up here, and you can take a look at that one. That was a 5 out of 5 read. So the next one I did was Mr. Hit and Misses. So Hit and Misses was it was a comedy of errors, really. It was this book about these 4 women who decide that they're going to go, they're in Quebec, and they decide they're going to go to New York. And the reason they decide to do this is because one of them is turning 50. Her husband had just left her for, I don't know if it was his secretary. It was for somebody anyway, somebody much younger. And so she's upset. And then one of her friends lives with her parents and is caring for them, but they don't give her a moment's peace. And so she's, pretty much headed up to here. Another one, her husband had died, and she's bringing up her 2 children, her 2 teenage daughters, but they're giving her more trouble than they need to be. Let me see, is that 4? 1, 2, 3. And I feel like I'm missing one. Oh, and one has a husband and 3 or 4 kids, I think. And, she has a good marriage and everything, but I think she feels like a little kind of taken advantage of, maybe like she's doing everything. So anyway, they're all kind of disgruntled for various reasons, and they decide to go to New York. So they take the woman whose husband left her, has left all his credit cards at home. So she takes his platinum visa or whatever it is and decides that they're going to go to New York and use his money to fund the trip. So they get there, and there's a mix-up right away in the airport with their luggage, and they end up getting involved with the mob, and someone ends up getting killed, and then they're being chased by the mob, and it's a total mess. And the whole thing is very funny. Really enjoyed it. It's one of those things that you think it would make a great movie if it was done with, like, I don't know, Melissa McCarthy maybe, or someone a bit older. Trying to think what great comedians there are out there, but anyway, it would be a Roseanne Barr or somebody, but it would be really good. The only kind of thing that bothered me a little bit about it is the fact that the woman who's looking after her parents, they're Jewish, and she's Jewish, of course, but it was kind of, I mean, they were funny, don't get me wrong, but it was seemed like pretty stereotypical, and I'm just not sure it was very. I don't know. It was okay, but it was that sort of comedy that didn't really sit that well with me with that part of it. But the rest of it I thought was pretty funny, and I would probably give that one probably again about 4 out of 5. And would I watch it if it was a movie? Yeah, I would. So I really did like that one. So the one after that was The House Witch. So The House Witch, I had such high hopes for. I really did. It was about this man who is a witch, and he joins the king and queen of Daxaria. He goes there, and he decides to be their kitchen cook. But nobody at first knows that he's a witch, just that he makes like this amazing food. And at first they don't, the head of the household doesn't really care much for him because he's, he wants everybody out of his kitchen, and he won't let people just like sit around in there the way they normally do. He won't let people kind of, abuse any of the people that are helping him. And he's very much taking care of everything, which is fine. Eventually, a couple of people find out that he is a witch, and they're not quite sure what to make of him, but because his food's so good and he's pretty easy to get along with, they're kind of getting used to him. The problem is it just doesn't seem to go anywhere. We must have read probably 30-40%, and there was no real moving plot. It was all very slow, and we read so much that we would look at the Kindle, and it was like, and we're still only 27% done, and it's but really nothing has happened. So by what they tell you in the plot that it looks like there is going to be a war with like another kingdom, and that somehow his father is involved with that kingdom, and he hasn't seen his father in like a lot of years, and there's a lot of bad blood between them. So you're sure that all that's going to kind of come together eventually, but after a while you just don't care. There apparently is a book 2 and a book 3, but it just didn't do it for me. And I kind of glanced at Goodreads to see what some other people were saying about it, and it's got a few good reviews and a lot of people who didn't finish it. And I'm afraid I'm one of those. It just couldn't get through it. So that one wasn't the best one, but overall, I think Canuck July has been going pretty well. I have not started Perm to Death yet. That would be my next one on my list. But right now, I'm reading. I'm reading something House. It's funny how all these names kind of fly out of your head after a while. Patterson House, sorry. I'm reading Patterson House, which has been pretty good so far, but it's a little strange. It's basically involving this woman who is living in this house with her father, and it's back in the days, probably like early 1900s, because she was involved with like the suffrage movement, and her father wasn't too impressed with all of that. And she ends up finding this little girl that's kind of wrapped up in, a baby, an infant, kind of wrapped up in and thrown in like a pile of dirt and stuff. So she's not, she's just been abandoned. And this woman picks her up and doesn't know a thing about babies, but she, takes her home, and her father basically tells her, well, I can't seem to get you married. So, it's up to you to take care of this child, because it's not going to look good on the family name if you send the child to an orphanage or something. So she ends up kind of, caring for the child, but really it's like the nannies and things that are doing most of that. And then it goes on from there as the child grows up and things. But the kind of odd part of it, which I'm not really sure how it connects to anything, but the grandfather who used to be the head of this household had died years ago, before the woman was even, I think, when the woman was an infant, maybe even before that. Anyway, he's dead, but every now and again there'll be a little bit in the book about like him and his ghost, kind of. And then so when the woman's was an infant herself and her mother died, it also shows the grandfather there with the mother when she died. And then eventually in the book, the father dies, and it's just like there's a lot of ghosts and different things, but it doesn't seem very cohesive yet. I'm kind of hoping it'll start to come together. We'll see. So finishing that one, and then reading Perm to Death. And I think that's pretty much all that we had. Oh, we had The Opportunist. That was the other one that I read. I've read obviously a lot. I'm sitting home, not able to do too much these days, so it's lots of time to read. So The Opportunist was actually quite good. Again, it was another one that should have had a trigger warning. It's not that much to ask. For some reason, I don't know what it is with the books that I've chosen lately, but a lot of them seem to be about, children in distress, and I don't like that. But anyway, this one, uh, although it was about that, it didn't delve into it deeply. So I did manage to get through it. And it was good, actually. It was this woman named Alana, and she had two brothers, Teddy and Martin, and she was kind of estranged from the family altogether. And Teddy and Martin call her up, and they're like, "You need to go rescue Dad. He's engaged to this woman, Kelly, and you need to go save him from this woman because she's, you know, less than half his age and she's just after his money." And Lana says, "I don't care. Like, I haven't seen him in years. I don't want his money. That's your problem." And so they kind of keep at her about it. And finally she decides, okay, fine, I'm going to go and I'm going to, do what they ask, because they say like they'll give her, I don't know, I think it was $1 million or something, if she'll go and talk to this woman and tell the woman that they will give her money if she will leave their father alone. So anyway, she agrees to do it. She shows up there supposedly for their engagement party and their wedding and everything, and meets this woman, talks to her, tells her what the brothers have said, and seems like it's going to go okay, and the woman is going to take the money. Anyway, it turns out that it doesn't work out quite the way that they thought it was going to, and so the rest of the book involves them figuring out what exactly has happened and whether they need to protect their father from this woman and what they can do about it, and everything that kind of, there's a whole other layer of things going on that we don't know about. But it's quite an interesting ride, and it's like I said, lots of twists and turns, and really enjoyed that one in spite of some of the things that we had talked about. Um, I would probably give that a 4 out of 5 as well. So I think overall, I've done pretty well for Canuck July. It's And somehow I apparently stopped the video there. So sorry about that, friends. We will see you next time, and we will talk more then about a book haul that my daughter recently did for me. All right, have a great day. Bye bye.